Our final story of the evening is coming from none other than Jenna Korsmo. She is a local queer writer who has a bad habit of telling her late mother's secrets, and you will hear them this evening. Her passion lives in her wife's green eyes, their bratty pubescent children, storytelling, and tacos. Please welcome to the stage, Jenna.
Just gonna move this. Hi. Hey. When I was 6 years old, my mother went to prison. She was sentenced to 15 to 30 years for vehicular manslaughter after 2 drunk driving crashes. 2 people were killed. I was in the car during the second one. My arms were broken. The car flipped. It caught fire. And my mom was very drunk. The person she hit in the other car that day did not make it. And the memory I have to this day is forever stitched into me. It is not lost on me that I am a daughter of a woman who killed people driving drunk. I want to say out loud, real justice probably never felt like true justice for the families she harmed. Please don't drive drunk. While she was gone, I was raised by my grandmother, Dr. Alice Paul, and she was a force. The very first Thana O'odham human ever, to earn her PhD from the University of Arizona. Yeah. It was a big deal, yeah. She became the head of the education department, respected, admired, famous in her own right. So my childhood was this split screen. When I wasn't at school, I was roller skating through the cool hallways and the warm sidewalks of the U of A. I would sneak in Judy Blume inside of my grandmother's textbooks at the student union to pretend I was studying something worthwhile. I would duck in and out of lecture halls, and my favorite was my grandmother's office window had a perfect view of the sorority houses, and I would watch those girls make up dances and practice their chants. And then every other weekend, driving 3 hours to Perryville Federal Prison to spend 2 hours with my mother. 2 hours of no physical contact, coded conversations they didn't want me to hear, tears, apologies, board games we pretended to enjoy, 2 hours of loving each other inside a maximum security prison. And she served just under 8 years before parole. I was almost 13 when she came home. And she would be on strict parole for the next 6 years. And we were poor, living in a crappy Phoenix apartment at first, but we didn't care because we were together. Those 2 hours every other weekend, plus our expensive 5-minute collect calls, letters scratched out and mailed off, that's what held us together. And my grandmother played a vital role to make that happen. And we were a package deal, had a really tight trust that was natural and felt normal to be back together, even though we really had to get to know each other full time in real life at a completely different age and time for both of us. And I had a love-hate teenage hormonal reaction to her reintroduction to society. She appeared to be this confident badass of a woman, but watching her learn some of the basics was funny now. But 13-year-old me then had me concerned I was going to become feral like her. There was some awkward first trips to the grocery store where she could not believe the variety of fresh produce available. And she would smell everything intensely. And I would roll my forever fruit-fed, privileged eating eyes. But I'll never forget her joy at eating a fresh, ripe watermelon for the first time in years. She took a bite and threw her head back and kicked her feet with glee like a little kid. She was strange and hilarious and utterly unfiltered. 6 feet tall, built like a warrior, half Calvin Klein model by day and half ex-con you think twice about crossing after dark. She said, "What the fuck?" a lot. That first Christmas back, she showed up with gifts. From then on, my mom's presents were always a little unhinged. Sometimes the wrapping, sometimes what was inside. One year, we were looking at this pile of gifts she brought, and then back at her, and she squared up and said, "No one ever thinks about Scooby-Doo at Christmas, and I think that's crazy." She gave me 2 glass lamp tops once and a cardboard box with a note that said, "I'm so happy you married Amber. I'll tell you about these later." She never did. She never did. It was always weird, and I'm not complaining. I loved being my mom's daughter. I loved how strange and funny she was. I oddly understood it, but I also found her absurd at the same time. It was mostly awesome. But going back to that first Christmas that she came home, she outdid herself. Everyone opened oddly wrapped boxes, and inside were doilies. Doilies. Handmade, lace, crocheted, delicate, intricate doilies. Everyone was swooning. My auntie and my cousins, my grandmother, each one so unique. And my mom just beaming, like she was being reintroduced into the family through crochet. And I was impressed. I was also sad because I didn't get one. And on the way home, I asked, "When did you even make all those? How did I not see you? Why didn't you teach me?" And she said, "I made them on the inside, and I'll show you sometime." And we never really talked in detail at that time, when I was that age, about her time in prison, so I let it go. And every Christmas after that, fewer doilies would appear, but some always did, including 1 or 2 for me, and she'd wink and say, "I still have some more stashed." And years later, I was in college in Portland, and she came to visit me, and we went thrift shopping. And I noticed she kept buying things separately from me, meeting me at the car, acting sketchy. So finally, I checked under her seat, and there they were. Bags of doilies. Gorgeous, intricate, clearly made by Victorian grandmothers. Or regular grandmothers. Or Amish people. Or anyone creative in general, just not her. And I pulled them out, shouted, laughing, "Not you. These are not you. They've always been secondhand." And she shouted back, "Does it matter? Everyone loves them, including you." And we laughed until we couldn't breathe about it. I couldn't and absolutely could believe it. We never spoke of it again after that car ride home. And she never gave away doilies again. And I've never told anyone except my wife and now this entire audience. My mama's a doily-making fraud. Every every single one out there that still sits under like a key dish or a jewelry holder, under a candle. Maybe you got a set of coasters. I'll never tell my mom's dirty secret to those she gifted. My mom died in 2018, and this honestly feels like a kind of a release for me. I see them at my auntie's house. She treasures them. Her now dead sister's handmade art that she describes as triumph and perseverance. She had one professionally framed. It's a thing. It's a thing, y'all. I'll never tell her. I purposely didn't invite her to the show tonight. And now I have so many of my mom's doilies all over my house. Under plants, under picture frames, under candles. And I also treasure them. Not because she made them. She absolutely did not. But they still came from her hands. They're still hers. They came from her mischief and her love. My mother was messy and broken, and she hurt people in ways that cannot be undone. But she also found a way, in her strange, sideways, fucked up way, to give beauty. And every single time I look at those doilies, I see both truths. Thank you. Don't forget to grab one of Polly's books in the back, and happy doily making. Thank you for coming tonight.